Stoicism, the Stoic philosophy of Marcus Aurelius. Written by Michaela Morrison. Narrated by Michael Lakemen and Dawson Studio.
What is Stoicism? Stoicism is a school of thought that dates back to ancient Greece, but which is still used today by those seeking to find harmony in a hectic, metropolitan 21st century environment. As Massimo Pigliucci explains in the first chapters of his book, Stoicism is often perceived as a passive philosophy, whereby you remain emotionless in all situations, untouched by any external factors. Stoicism is actually very different. It's all about emotion. Stoics take emotion very seriously. They acquire their emotions and take time to reflect on them. They ask themselves, why am I feeling or reacting this way? How can I use my emotions to generate the best outcome? Stoicism is the practice of separating what is under our control from what isn't. In this way, it grounds us in reality, while helping us to make mindful decisions. Stoicism can be summed up by the popular mantra, "Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference." It can be divided into three main disciplines: desire, action, and assent. Desire. Understanding what we can desire and what we cannot desire. Understanding what's in our power and what's not in our power. Understanding our place in the universe. Putting material objects and external factors in perspective. Action. How to tackle challenging situations. How to behave in day-to-day life. Assent. How to deal with emotion. How to react to external factors. The philosophy of Stoicism. The word Stoic comes from the word Stoicism. Today, these words mean indifference to all emotions, whether it be pain, pleasure, hate, or love, a sort of impassiveness. However, the philosophy of Stoicism is completely different and encompasses a very different set of ideas. Though as time went on, the philosophy of Stoicism evolved, especially with the coming of Rome. The original philosophy was made by a Greek philosopher in Athens, whose name was Zeno of Citium. Though perhaps more famous Stoic philosophers would be Seneca, the younger, and Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor of Rome. The basic teachings of Stoicism is that bad emotions come from bad judgment, and the core of Stoicism is to overcome these destructive emotions through control. They also say that true happiness is achieved through virtue. Stoics presented the philosophy as a way of life through which you can become a sage. A sage is someone who's achieved ethical and intellectual perfection. Many philosophers, including Seneca, emphasize the belief that happiness is achieved through virtue. With this being true then, a sage would be immune to misfortune, since misfortune causes unhappiness, and through virtue there is no unhappiness. This gives a powerful sense of controlling one's own fate. Stoicism also concerns itself heavily with fate and human free will. They believe in determinism, the idea that all future events are controlled by past events, in a philosophy similar to fate. But they also believe in individual free will. This mixture of belief produces both a sense of acceptance of what will be, while still trying to change the future for the better. One of the virtues that Stoicism talks about is control. One has to be in control of themselves, and many Stoic philosophers talk of how a wicked man is like a dog tied to a cart, and he will go wherever he will go, but a Stoic or virtuous man will go where he chooses. The set of virtues that Stoicism talks of are not religious ethics, so as to say that God laid down a set of rules and will be unhappy if you break these rules, but rather a set of naturalistic ethics. That's even if there's no afterlife, then you should still be a good person simply because it's good to be a good person. Stoicism also puts a lot of importance into the idea of logic. They believe that only through logic
Sample complete. Ready to continue?